What if I told you you could have high quality Bluetooth for your own IEMs, not just a pair of someone else's IEMs? Well, these Fostex TM2 Bluetooth earpieces do just that. So the TM2 or TM2 is actually a pair of earphones that come in this funky box. The box actually is the charging cradle and has a micro USB port on the side for doing that. Now once you open it up, you'll see kind of everything makes sense. You have a left and a right earphone, and once you pull them out of the box, they power on and they'll start their pairing, or these have already been paired with a couple of devices. They'll pair up fine with my iPhone, where they can accept AAC audio, and they also paired up with a FitEar M11 where they accept aptX. Unfortunately, they don't accept aptX HD or Sony's LDAC, but aptX should be sufficient for most intents and purposes. These aren't kind of super high-end design. They're kind of lower in the range, but still, the actual IEMs they come with are a pair of, they have a 6mm driver inside each IEM. But the unique thing about these is not that the fact that the IEM that they have in there, but that you can remove the IEMs readily, because by default they have an MMCX connector, and you can also put on your own IEM. So for example, I have an Andromeda here. If I wanted to hook that on, no problem there, just pop that on there, and then I can do both sides, and I have a pair of wireless Andromedas. And not only that, if you don't have an MMCX connecting pair of earphones, this arm, with a nice flexible arm they've included in here, also pops out. It has its own MMCX connector. Then you can get either a 2-pin, or in this case, the one they sent me, a FitEar adapter, since they do a lot of work with FitEar in Japan, and you can adapt other types of IEMs as well. But the cool thing is, of course, the case, which once you've attached your own IEMs, you just put it back in, it powers off, and it keeps your IEMs safely in there because it's got a sufficiently large space to hold probably most IEMs out there. The other cool thing is they have a number of controls on here. Once you pair them up, now pairing up is quite interesting. You pair up one side, so once you take this out, it actually starts the pairing request for the left side. Then once you've paired the left side, it communicates with the right-hand side and tells the right-hand side, please pair up with this device, and you get a request on say your phone or other device, for the pairing from the right-hand earpiece. Pretty cool. So you only it only takes a few seconds to do. Once you've done that, you can actually control, there's a button here with multi-functions that you can use, and also depending on how long or short or how many times you press it. And there also has volume control in here, engaged by sliding your finger up or sliding your finger down to adjust the volume 1 point at a time. It's not the most efficient system, but I've just tried these out a little bit, but it does work. Now the included IEMs themselves, these have a medium tip on them. There are also small and large tips inside, and there's a USB cable, obviously micro USB cable for charging. Sound-wise, they of course come with what appears to be a single dynamic driver pair of IEMs, which are basically decent and do the job. They're like those Shozy IEMs I reviewed a while back, which were kind of really good all-rounders for around $50, and it's kind of that's the kind of performance you get out of these. Good punchy bass, decent mid-range. The highs, not fantastic, but not really bad either, and kind of generally really very listenable. Now I tried the transmitting using aptX from FitEar M11 to since I have most of my music on there, and it was a pretty satisfactory listen overall. But scaling up the sound quality, if I put on something like these $165 Shozy CPs, that pushed the sound quality up a good margin there. So it meant that they can do obviously better than these single dynamic driver IEMs. To do the good old hiss test, I put on the Andromedas, and these of course pick up hiss like nobody's business, even out of the best equipment. And not surprisingly, there was quite a lot of hiss out of the Fostex. But it was still listenable. If you put on music, you could still listen to music and enjoy it. But I mean, you probably had to turn up the volume a bit to get around the hiss for best results. You can, of course, use them with your high-end IEMs, and I've seen some people put in their FitEar customs onto these and find them as portable listening devices. I think for something like taking on a plane, to relax on a plane where you just don't want the wires on you all the time, or on public transport where the background noise is kind of drying out some of the sound quality anyway, you could probably use them with some quite decent IEMs, although of course they don't do anywhere near the justice that can be done by better gear for something like the Andromedas. I mean, even something like the $220 Channeling M2X was a distinct and very clear step up from the TM2s. The other thing is, with very sensitive IEMs such as the Andromedas, when I was putting them in, I plugged it in and then put them on my ears, the announce voice was way too loud for something like the Andromedas. So something that the IEMs that are very sensitive are not really a good match for that. Like the announce voice was just blaring in my ears. And so if you do end up using them with something like as sensitive as the Andromedas, you'll want to wait for the announcements to stop before putting them in your ears. To give you an idea how good the microphone is on the TM2, what I'm doing is I'm recording voice onto my phone over Bluetooth at the same time I'm recording this video. And that means I can, just in the middle, I can switch to the sound from my from the Bluetooth that's being recorded on my phone and give you an idea kind of how the voice quality will be, at least in this moderately quiet environment. Then again, we can also check how it sounds in a more noisy environment. Okay, this is a test amongst some somewhat noisy cicadas, although not too noisy as it's been raining. But how much can you hear the background noise and how much can you hear my voice? Also, just for curiosity, this is without the iOS background noise cancellation switched on, so you should probably be able to hear more of the background noise of me speaking now. That meant the TM2s, well, they do the job. If you want, probably the main downside to this is you having two earpieces. So if you need to, always just using both earpieces, a single earpiece device from something like Sony may be more efficient. But if you might be using just one or just the other, say to make phone calls, well then you can use just one if necessary. So in that, it's certainly an interesting device, and with Bluetooth being big these days and people wanting to a bit of flexibility in how they use this stuff, it's certainly a good device in that regard. The only annoying thing functionality wise for me is often when I was putting them on, it was off sliding my finger up and down the volume control, and it kept hearing beeps and bops when that was going. At around the $300 mark, that puts the Fostex TM2 in the kind of price bracket which there's a lot of competitive audio gear, not just only the DAPs that sound better than using a pair of wireless earphones, but a lot of other wireless gear as well. But for the flexibility you have with these, you can use just one or you can use both. You can use the existing pretty decent earphones that are included with them, or you can use your own earphones, or you can buy adapters to use other earphones that don't use MMCX connectors. That gives a lot of options for someone who wants to turn their own IEMs into something that's wireless. So I hope you liked my review of the Fostex TM2 wireless IEMs or wireless IEM solution. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to be notified when I make new videos, don't forget to subscribe and also click on the notifications button next to the subscribe button to make sure you are informed when I put out new videos. Also, thanks to everyone who has supported these videos. People whose names you see on screen, as well as many others, are, for even just a couple of bucks a month, more or less the equivalent to buying me a coffee once in a while, help make these videos happen. These people also go in the draw once a month to win free stuff, and they get to see the videos in advance without ads, as well as get my advice on audio purchases anytime they like. Do consider becoming a supporter. You can sign up using the link below. So thanks once again for watching, and I'll see you online. Over the ear and in. Over the ear and in. And then you don't drop them on the floor.